If I could lean across the screen and whisper something that would make you sit up straight, it would be this. The words you speak are not casual. They are orders. And some of you have been placing orders with the universe the way people shop when they're bored, no list, no intention, and then you're surprised when you get junk. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "Here we go again, another mystical money talk," stay with me for just a moment. Because if you've ever worked hard, prayed hard, visualized hard, and still checked your bank account like it personally betrayed you, you're exactly who I'm talking to. You didn't fail. You weren't overlooked. You didn't miss your destiny while you were in traffic or sleeping late one Tuesday. You simply spoke without authority. And life, like a well-trained servant, obeyed you precisely. Most people are exhausted not because life is hard, but because they are fighting the very laws meant to work for them. They affirm what they fear, joke about what they lack, and casually curse themselves with phrases they learned at the dinner table. Then they wonder why abundance treats them like a stranger. I know the struggle you're in. I know the quiet panic that shows up when bills arrive with confidence you don't feel. I know the way you pretend you're fine while secretly calculating how many miracles you need before the end of the month. And I also know the guilt because you've been told you should be grateful, positive, faithful. And here you are, still worrying. Let me relieve you of that guilt immediately. Worry is not a moral failure. It is a habit, and habits can be replaced. The core challenge is not money. It has never been money. Money is obedient. Money follows direction. The challenge is command. Most people speak as beggars and expect kingly results. Life does not respond to need. It responds to knowing. Here is the quiet truth. Few will say plainly. The universe does not hear desperation clearly. It hears decision. It hears alignment. It hears certainty spoken in simple words. And that is why I told you there are 3 exact words. Not 10. Not a paragraph. Not a chant that requires incense, candles, and dramatic background music. 3 words, spoken with understanding, that shift you from wishing to receiving. But before I give them to you, I want you to understand why they work, because power without understanding turns into superstition. And we are not here to gamble with our lives. Every created thing begins as a word. Not a sound, but an idea spoken into form. Your life right now is the echo of conversations you've been having for years. Silent ones, joking ones, emotional ones, and yes, careless ones. When you say, "Money is hard to come by," life says, "Of course, as you wish." When you say, "I'll never catch up," life says, "Then you shall always chase." When you say, "I'm trying," life hears, "I am not claiming." Trying is the language of delay. Now let me make you laugh for a moment, because humor opens the door faster than seriousness. Imagine walking into a restaurant, sitting down confidently, and telling the waiter, "I'm hoping the food might somehow show up, but honestly, I doubt it." That waiter would slowly back away and call for help. Yet that is exactly how people speak to life every day. They say, "I hope someday I'll be abundant," while gripping their wallet like it might run away. They say, "One day things will change," while repeating the same words, same thoughts, same expectations. Life is not confused. It is literal. The framework is simple. Thought is the architect, word is the contractor, action is the inspection. Most people skip straight to action and wonder why the structure collapses. Now, about the number you saw, 500 million. Don't panic. Don't calculate. Don't argue. The moment you argue with a figure, you reveal your ceiling. Numbers are neutral. They only expose belief. If I had said $5, your mind would relax. If I had said 5,000, it would negotiate. 5 million might make it sweat. 500 million reveals where you still think life is rationed. Abundance is not measured by digits. It is measured by permission. And here are the 3 words. Are you ready? I give generously. That's it. 3 words. And some of you are disappointed because you expected something more dramatic. That's how you know they're powerful. I give generously. Notice I did not say, I will give. Notice I did not say, I want to give. Notice I did not say, I give when I have. I give generously is a statement of identity, not circumstance. Now let me explain why this summons wealth in ways effort alone never could. Life is a circulation. Whatever you stop, stops. Whatever you allow to move, multiplies. The moment you identify as a generous source, you move yourself out of the category of needy receiver and into the category of distributor. And distributors are always resupplied. Most people say, let me get first, then I'll give. Life says, no. Show me you understand flow, then I'll trust you with volume. Generosity is not about money alone. Some of the wealthiest doors open because someone gave encouragement, gave time, gave praise, gave value without clutching. You've been trained to think generosity drains you. That belief alone can block fortunes. Now here's where humor meets honesty. Some of you are generous with complaints. You give opinions freely. You give fear airtime. You give doubt a microphone. And life says, this is what they're distributing. Let me give them more to share. What you give is what you multiply. When you say, I give generously, you are not announcing charity. You are declaring capacity. You are saying, I am not a closed system. I am a channel. And channels are where rivers flow. Now, do not misunderstand me. I am not telling you to empty your bank account or become financially reckless. Recklessness is fear dressed as bravery. Generosity begins in consciousness before it ever touches currency. You can give generously with appreciation. You can give generously with gratitude. You can give generously by refusing to speak lack. Try this today. When the urge comes to complain, pause, smile, and quietly say, I give generously. Then give a better word instead. Instead of this is impossible, give. This is unfolding. Instead of I can't afford it, give. Supply is arranging. Instead of I'm behind, give. I am catching up with ease. That small shift is not pretend. It is instruction. Now let me address the skeptics gently, because skepticism is often intelligence that has been disappointed too many times. You are not wrong to be cautious. You are wrong only if you stay silent when life is waiting for direction. You've tried affirmations before and felt silly. Of course you did. You spoke them while still arguing inside. Words spoken without agreement are like seeds thrown onto concrete. This time, don't shout, don't force, don't convince. Simply practice alignment. Say, I give generously when you tip. Say it when you help someone. Say it when you receive something good. Say it when money leaves your hand without panic. And watch how calm replaces urgency. Calm is the true magnet. Here is an action step, and I want you to actually do it, not just nod like you're at a polite lecture. For the next 24 hours, observe what you give verbally. Count complaints, count criticisms, count jokes at your own expense. Then consciously replace just 3 of them with generosity of speech. That's it. 3 replacements. You don't need to become a saint by Tuesday. And if you feel resistance, good. Resistance means you've touched a boundary. Boundaries are where expansion begins. If this resonates even a little, I want you to interact not for me, but for you. Leave a comment with the 3 words written out. There is something powerful about seeing what you intend reflected back to you. It anchors the idea. And if you feel lighter already, that's not imagination. That's alignment beginning to hum. Remember this as we continue. You are not trying to get money to feel secure. You are learning to feel secure so money can find you. Life is generous by nature. It only waits for you to agree. Pause here. Sit with it. Let the words rearrange something quietly inside you. Now let's go a little deeper, because once the mind agrees, the old habits begin to protest. This is where most people turn back. Not because the truth isn't beautiful, but because it disrupts familiar thinking. And familiarity, even when uncomfortable, feels safe. You may have noticed something already. Since you heard those 3 words, A quiet voice may have whispered, yes, but I don't have enough. Yes, but you don't know my situation. Yes, but I've tried this kind of thing before. That voice is not your enemy. It is simply your past, trying to remain employed. The mind has been trained to survive, not to receive abundance gracefully. Survival thinking is always asking, what if it runs out? Abundance thinking asks, where is it flowing next? And this is why so many good people work so hard and still feel stuck. They are pushing against life instead of directing it. Let me say something that may surprise you. Effort alone has never created wealth. Alignment creates wealth. Effort simply gives it somewhere to land. You've seen this in others. Even if you didn't have language for it. The person who seems to stumble into opportunities. The one who says the right thing at the right time. The one whose help shows up before panic sets in. That isn't luck. That's circulation. They are not hoarding energy. They are moving it. Now, here's where humor helps again, because seriousness can make this feel heavy when it's meant to feel light. People treat money like a shy animal. They chase it, corner it, grab at it, then act shocked when it runs. Imagine trying to make a cat love you by yelling, "Come here right now and love me." The cat will leave the country. Money has similar tendencies. It comes to those who are relaxed in their authority, not frantic in their wanting. I give generously is powerful because it relaxes you. It tells the nervous system, I am safe enough to share, and safety is magnetic. Now let's talk plainly about the number again, because some of you are still secretly negotiating it down. You're saying, I'd be happy with much less. That sentence sounds humble, but it often hides fear. Life does not reward smallness. It rewards clarity. You are not required to need $500 million. You are required to remove your resistance to flow. The number is simply a mirror. It shows you where you still think there are limits outside of you. When you say, I give generously, you are not demanding a specific amount. You are stepping into a role. And roles determine outcomes. The role of the giver is always supported. Now let me tell you a small story, because stories bypass argument. I once knew a woman who had very little by worldly standards, and yet people were drawn to her constantly. Opportunities appeared around her like uninvited guests. She never spoke of lack, not because she was pretending, but because she refused to rehearse it. When money left her hands, she blessed it. When it arrived, she welcomed it without surprise. She did not cling. She circulated, and life trusted her with more. Contrast that with the person who says, I can't afford generosity. That statement alone locks the door, not because generosity costs money, but because it reveals a belief in scarcity. Now, let's get practical, because inspiration without application becomes entertainment. And we are not here to be entertained by our own potential. Here is a simple framework you can use immediately. It is not mystical. It is orderly. First, observe what you are giving emotionally. Second, choose what you want to circulate. Third, speak from identity, not hope. Observation comes first because you cannot redirect what you refuse to see. Pay attention today to what you give when something doesn't go your way. Do you give irritation? Do you give silence soaked in resentment? Do you give jokes that diminish yourself before someone else can? Those are all forms of generosity, just not the kind that builds wealth. Now choose deliberately. Choose to give something that feels slightly elevated from your habit. Not fake, just lifted. Give patience where you would rush. Give calm where you would complain. Give appreciation where you would critique. And then speak from identity. This is crucial. Do not say, I'm trying to be generous. Say, I give generously. The universe does not respond to resumes. It responds to titles. You may ask, but what if I don't feel generous? Feelings follow decisions, not the other way around. Waiting to feel ready is the oldest delay tactic known to humankind. Now let me address the fear that generosity will make you vulnerable. This fear often comes from experience giving without boundaries, giving to those who took without respect, giving from guilt instead of joy. That is not generosity. That is leakage. True generosity has direction. It has discernment. It does not drain you. It identifies you. When you give generously, you are not saying yes to everything. You are saying yes to flow. You are choosing to be a conduit, not a container. And containers eventually crack. Now here's a moment of truth, spoken gently but clearly. Many people secretly believe wealth will make them selfish, so they resist it unconsciously. They associate abundance with loss of virtue. That belief alone can sabotage fortunes. Wealth does not change character. It reveals it. If you are kind now, you will be influentially kind later. If you are fearful now, money will simply give fear more tools. This is why the inner work matters. Now let's laugh again, because laughter disarms fear. Have you noticed how people say things like, "If I had money, I'd disappear and never talk to anyone again"? Life hears that and says, they plan to exile themselves. Best not give them the means. Words are always overheard. Speak like someone who expects to remain connected, generous, grounded. Here's another small action step. Today, give something anonymously if you can. Not for praise, not for proof. Simply to experience the ease of giving without attachment. It could be a kind message. It could be help. It could be money. The amount does not matter. The spirit does. Notice what happens inside you. If joy arises, you are aligned. If fear arises, you found a belief worth releasing. Now, I want you to imagine something, but gently. Imagine money moving through you the way breath moves through the body. You don't cling to breath. You don't panic when you exhale. You trust the inhale will come. This is the posture of abundance. People who summon large sums are not obsessed with money. They are obsessed with movement, value, and contribution. Money simply keeps up. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you agree with. And agreement is formed through repetition, not force. So, repeat the words casually. Don't dramatize them. Say them while washing dishes. Say them while paying a bill. Say them while receiving a compliment without deflecting it. Especially that last one. Many of you reject compliments like they're dangerous objects. You say, "Oh no, it was nothing." Life hears. Reject incoming good. Practice receiving without apology. That alone can change your financial ceiling. If this is stirring something in you, I want you to stay engaged. Don't drift. Write the words again in the comments, or simply acknowledge them quietly. Participation anchors intention. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing, not because you need another voice, but because repetition builds reality. You don't water a seed once and then yell at the soil. We are building momentum now. Not hype, momentum. There is more to unfold, especially about timing, expectation, and how not to sabotage the moment abundance approaches. Many people do that without realizing it. So pause here. Let this settle. Notice what thoughts try to interrupt. They are showing you exactly where your next expansion lies. Now we arrive at the place where things usually become very quiet inside. Not loud, not dramatic, quiet. Because once you understand the principle, the only thing left is consent. And consent is subtle. It does not shout. It simply opens its hands. Up to now, you may have felt inspired, thoughtful, maybe even hopeful. This is good. But inspiration alone is not the goal. The goal is expectancy without tension. Expectancy is the calm, knowing that something is moving, even when you can't yet see the evidence. Most people sabotage themselves right here. They say, "I believe," and then immediately begin checking the clock. They say, "I trust," and then scan the horizon for proof. That is not trust. That is surveillance. Life does not respond well to being watched suspiciously. Let me tell you something gently and clearly. Timing is not punishment or reward. Timing is coordination. Things arrive when you are internally prepared to receive them without fear, guilt, or self-destruction. Yes, I said self-destruction. Many people think they are waiting on money, when money is actually waiting on them to stop panicking at the idea of having it. Ask yourself honestly, and without judgment, if a large sum arrived tomorrow, would you feel calm, or would your chest tighten? Would you feel grounded, or overwhelmed? Would you feel generous, or defensive? Your answers tell you everything. This is why the words, "I give generously," are not just about summoning. They are about stabilizing. They train you to hold more without gripping. Because what you grip, you fear losing. And what you fear losing, you never truly possess. Now, let's talk about expectation. Because expectation is misunderstood. People think expectation is excitement. It is not. Excitement burns fast and collapses quickly. Expectation is quiet confidence. Expectation says, "Of course this is aligning." Not, "Why isn't this here yet?" There is a tremendous difference. Imagine planting a seed and then digging it up every morning to see if it's growing. You would call that interference, not gardening. Yet, that is how many people treat their intentions. They affirm in the morning and doubt by lunch. They give generously in thought, then revoke it in speech. They declare abundance, then rehearse disaster for safety. Life cannot follow contradictory instructions. So here is the practice that completes the circuit. It is simple, but do not confuse simplicity with weakness. When something doesn't go your way, and it will, because contrast is part of movement, do not say, "This isn't working." Say, "This is rearranging." Those 3 words alone can save you months of delay. Because resistance slows circulation. Acceptance accelerates it. Now, let's address something important with honesty and a little humor. Some of you are waiting for money to appear without changing your relationship to value. You want the harvest, but you are reluctant to plant differently. Money follows value the way a shadow follows a body. Ask yourself, what do people receive when they encounter you? Do they feel lighter, clearer, encouraged, understood? Or do they feel drained, rushed, or unseen? This is not about judgment. It is about awareness. You do not need to invent value. You already have it. You simply need to circulate it without self-doubt. Many people undercharge, underspeak, underpresent, because they confuse humility with invisibility. That confusion alone can keep abundance at a distance. True humility is not shrinking. It is accuracy. Now let me be very practical again. Choose one area of your life where you will practice generous circulation without overthinking. Just one. If you create with fullness instead of holding back. If you work with presence instead of resentment. If you speak with clarity instead of apology. Notice how often you soften your statements to avoid discomfort. You say things like, "I don't know if this is good," or "It's probably nothing." Those are verbal withdrawals from your own account. Begin blessing your work silently before you release it. Not to control outcomes, but to release attachment. Say, "I give generously," and let it go. Now, let's talk about receiving, because this is where many generous souls stumble. They are excellent givers and awkward receivers. They deflect compliments. They minimize help. They feel indebted when someone offers support. Receiving is not taking. Receiving is allowing. And allowance is generosity in reverse. If you cannot receive comfortably, you are telling life, "I only trust myself as the source." That belief is exhausting, and life responds by letting you do everything alone. Begin practicing graceful reception. When someone helps you, say thank you without explanation. When something good happens, resist the urge to downplay it. Let joy stand without justification. Joy is not arrogance. It is alignment. Now, I want to speak directly to the fear that this is all too simple. That fear comes from a world that profits from complexity. But life itself is not complicated. It is precise. The law does not require struggle to activate. It requires clarity. You do not need to suffer to deserve abundance. That idea was learned, not innate. You are not here to prove your worth through exhaustion. You are here to express it through contribution. 500 million is not a target. It is a symbol of unrestricted flow, of scale, of reach beyond personal survival. Whether your path expresses that through money, influence, creation, or service is not for you to force. Your task is agreement. Agreement with flow. Agreement with generosity. Agreement with ease. Ease does not mean laziness. Ease means absence of resistance. And resistance is always internal before it is external. Now here is a final, very grounded action. Tonight, before sleep, review your day without judgment. Simply notice where you gave generously and where you withheld out of fear. Then choose one moment you would redo, not in regret, but in imagination. See yourself responding with generosity instead. Speak the words again. Feel the ease. This is not fantasy. This is rehearsal. And rehearsal trains the subconscious. The subconscious does not learn through logic. It learns through repetition and feeling. That is why joking about being broke can cost you more than you realize. Humor teaches too. Begin joking about overflow instead. Lightly, casually, without forcing laughter. Now, let me say something that may land softly or sharply depending on your readiness. You do not need permission to live in abundance, but you do need acceptance of responsibility. Abundance amplifies choice. It does not remove it. If you are willing to be a steward, life is willing to supply. And stewardship begins with language. So return, again and again, to the words, not with desperation, not with superstition, with calm authority. I give generously. Say them when you feel confident. Say them when you feel unsure. Say them especially when fear tries to bargain. And then act in alignment with them, even in small ways. Small ways are not small. They are seeds. Now, if you've stayed with me this far, I want you to recognize something important. You are not here by accident. Resonance is not random. Something in you already knows this is true. Even if another part is still cautious. Honor both parts, but let the knowing lead. Engage with this message however you feel moved. Reflect on it, speak it, share it, return to it. And if you want to keep building this understanding, stay connected, not because you need me, but because repetition builds mastery, and mastery builds freedom. Remember this above all else. Life is not withholding from you. It is responding to you. Speak wisely, give generously, and allow yourself to be surprised by how quickly things can change when resistance steps aside. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right on the edge of agreement. And agreement is where everything begins.